I'm Mike Krause. Welcome to your weekend. A little bit later in this show, we're going to be having a book author on. And so, since your normal host, John Caldera, doesn't read, we thought that it'd be better to have somebody literate host the show this week. So John's actually taken a day off to take a second stab at passing his remedial How to Talk to Women course. We wish him the best with that. So stick around for that second half. But first, we thought that I wanted to talk a little bit about this idea of veterans and whether or not veterans are sort of becoming like a victim class in this country. And so to talk about it, I went and found a veteran. I went and dragged a couple dive bars and found a Marine. What do you know? Frank Crocker, State Director for Concerned Veterans for America. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. How's it going?
Everything's really good, thanks. All right, first let's take a minute, because your group, there's a ton of veterans organizations out there. Your group is a little bit unique and a little bit different. So why don't you give us the elevator pitch that you have for CVA?
We're just a group of veterans and like-minded thinkers who believe that veterans, when they leave active duty, that the job is not done. There is still a war to be fought in this country. We're losing freedoms on so many different fronts right now, whether it's the national debt, whether it's our health care. There's so many different issues, and we believe that veterans are an underrepresented voice in that mission. And so our goal is to motivate and mobilize these veterans to get them out and become politically active.
That's fantastic. Sounds good. So we should probably get our bona fides out of the way, because we're going to talk veteran stuff. So you were a Marine.
Yeah, so I got out as a Marine captain, artillery officer. I deployed in the Pacific. I was in the Philippines, South Korea, Japan, kind of all over the place over there. Did 4 years, and then I jumped back and moved into this position.
All right, fantastic. And I'm at least half a veteran. I was in the Coast Guard. And I'll give you my bona fides, that when the ground offensive started in Gulf War I, I was drinking with Dutch Marines on a beach in Curacao.
Oh,
so
right
there was
on.
Sand everywhere, man, sand everywhere. It was brutal duty. But let me tell you the story. And we were talking about this before the show. When I was released from active duty in the service, they sat me down and they gave me a document. And the document went through and listed everything that I had done in the service and all the schools I'd taken and all the training I'd had and what I'd done. And it told me what I was qualified to do in the civilian world. And according to the government, I was qualified to either run a marina or be a cop. And yet, here I am, 25 people watching me host a public affairs TV show. So it didn't quite work out that way. And this is one of the problems I'm seeing, is that both the service and a lot of the civilian world who advocate for veterans actually end up kind of treating veterans when they're released from active duty as though they need to be reintegrated into American society. Do you get that vibe?
Yeah, I do. And you know, there is part of me that thinks that veterans do. We do go through a unique experience, especially your guys at the height of the wars that were going on, sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 deployments back to back. Oftentimes really not getting back into the civilian world. The military is increasingly becoming more and more isolated, but there is this perpetual victim culture now within the United States that people just identify various groups, you name it, and there's a group out there advocating that these people are now victims. And now that it's come on to veterans, most veterans, when they get out, they're busy trying to find a job, they're raising a family, they're trying to move on with their lives. There's a very small minority in the Marine Corps and in most services. You always say the bottom 10%. There's always going to be the 10% of people who are out there to get whatever handouts they want. And anytime that there is a perceived victim class, we are great at creating a bureaucracy around this victim class. We are great at perpetuating this victim class and making it larger. And it manifests itself in so many different ways. For example, I know you'll probably bring this up later, but we talked about it on the phone the other day, the whole 4th of July fireworks, yard signs. It is so insulting. And some people, a lot of people, to your regular civilians who maybe don't have any interaction with the military, they see that and they say, oh, that's great. We should all put warning signs out in our yards that if you have PTSD, that we need to warn you about shooting fireworks. And most people they just laugh. You talk to the vast majority of veterans, they would want to come over and shoot fireworks and blow stuff up with you.
Right,
it's crazy.
For the audience, there was this meme going around. It was all over social media and became kind of a popular thing. And by the way, this runs across the gamut. This is people who care deeply about veterans.
Exactly.
That they kind of buy into this idea inadvertently. And it was, hey, look, this 4th of July, you got to be really careful if you have neighbors who are combat veterans, because they might have PTSD, and you got to be real careful about shooting off fireworks around them because it might trigger something. And after a while going around, I was like, no, stop. I said, that's the wrong way to look at it. I said, if you have a veteran living next door to you, why don't you go over and ask him if he wants to come over and blow some stuff up with you? He might dig it. So it was a really odd thing, and I saw people retweeting it and re-Facebooking it who should know better, but what they've done is they've kind of said they want to care. And the way they care is by treating you special. But it's not necessarily special in a good way. So
Exactly.
it's an odd and interesting thing, because at the same time, and tell me if you agree with this, that I think that today, now, there's probably never been a better time in terms of public sentiment to be a veteran than probably since World War II. People applaud you in airports when you're returning from service. I've had people come up and who found out that I'd served, even though it was back in the 90s, and thanked me for my service. Complete strangers when they see I have a license plate. And what I want to say is, well, no, thank you for my no money down VA-backed loan, actually. You know, and so it's a great time. Would you agree? I mean,
Exactly.
in terms of public sentiment.
It really is, and you know, and veterans when they come back, and this is, you know, my main tip that I tell people is obviously thanking people. I mean, every time I see a guy with a Vietnam hat or a World War II hat, you can, you know, bet it that I'm going to go up to him and thank them for their service, because what those guys went through was, one, a shameful return, especially for our Vietnam veterans. But you know, I look at that sacrifice. Nowadays for veterans returning, you know, it's so much better. There's so many more resources. And when I tell people, you know, they say, oh, well, I don't know anyone in the military. I don't know any families that are in the military. Like, what should I do? How do I help, quote, reintegrate you back into society?
There's that word again.
The best tip is just to treat us like regular people.
Right.
You know, if you have questions, we'll tell you about our military service. We're just regular guys. We happen to have a job that was, you know, a lot of people saw a lot of combat. Most people didn't see very much combat, or no combat at all. And we just want to be treated like normal people, and we want to be treated with the same respect that you would treat your neighbor who wasn't a veteran. And I think that, you know, when it comes to this victim class and this new thing is how many benefits go out there, is there's just this weird gray area where you say, all right, veterans coming out, they want to go back into the civilian society, but I'm also going to come at it from the other side and say, hey, I do miss that culture. There is a very strong brotherhood that is built. It is a locker room style culture where you just build a bond with the same guys that you're out there every single day with for years on end. You do miss that, and I do go hang out with some of my veteran buddies, and I do go still do those things. But by and large, if people want to continue on with that, they're going to stay in the military. You get out because you're ready to move on and do other things. And oftentimes, it's veterans who can learn the most from other people in the communities. You know, I love talking to people that have wildly different views on politics, because guess what? You don't find that very much in the military.
No, you don't. I'm going to run this by you because this goes back, because you said the reintegration word, and there's actually a program here in Denver, the Homeless Veteran Reintegration Program, and their mission is actually to successfully reintegrate our veterans into society as stable and productive individuals. Now, that sounds like somebody who just got out of prison, quite frankly, and you need to be reintegrated into polite society and a market economy and the idea of living in a constitutional republic. We already know this stuff going in. And so it's kind of odd to me that the idea that a guy might need some care if he's suffering from some either some mental or some physical issues from what he'd seen in combat, that doesn't mean that he is a special case that needs to be reintegrated. And I find this fascinating because there's actually job programs out there, government-run job programs, to try and connect businesses with veterans, right? And let me tell you what the Colorado Department of Labor says about hiring a veteran. Colorado Department of Labor says that veterans are great employees because we have accelerated learning curves, we have leadership skills, we understand teamwork, we're able to work alongside a highly diverse workforce, we're good under pressure, respect for people's procedures, and then at the end it says, oh, by the way, there's a special tax credit available if you hire veterans that fall under a certain program. And I think, well, wait a minute, if veterans have all these skills and capabilities, why on earth would there need to be a special program to help get them employed? I mean, isn't that just dissonance?
Well, it's honestly, it's sort of insulting your intelligence. It's basically saying, oh, hey, you were in the Marine Corps. You only know how to bayonet things and speak in 4-letter words.
Well,
and
we know that's true
yeah.
for you, but
Yeah.
let's talk about someone else.
And and they say, oh, well, you clearly need more assistance to get by. You are not smart enough to use a computer to go to Monster, LinkedIn, whatever job searching site. You need extra skills because you are in this certain class now that needs, extra benefits. And that's what that's not saying is that I think it's great that there are a ton of great websites, and there is actually some really good stuff with like the federal government, USA Jobs, the veterans hiring preference. I think that stuff is great because it can help veterans when they have significant gaps. For example, you look at entry-level positions that say we require 5 years in this specific position. You may have military experience that may not directly go hand in hand with that specific job, but you might be qualified. There are instances where it does make sense, but the overall message and how they umbrella all veterans into this exact same category is what is just completely wrong. And it's insulting. It's insulting your intelligence that you're saying that I spent, 4 years in the Marine Corps in leadership positions, and now that I get out, I all of a sudden forgot how to, work on a resume or talk to regular people in an interview. I mean, I would love to have some help in that, and there's things I can seek out, but I don't need that kind of stuff. I didn't just magically forget how to do all that.
I didn't know how you got dressed this morning.
I know,
Wow.
It's a wonder. It's a wonder. Without my wife, I don't know how to do anything.
There's actually a bill. There's a big difference, and I guess our point here is that there's a big difference between helping empower veterans to continue on and do well and be the citizens they already are, just in a different, and people who have had a fairly unique experience. There was actually a bill passed out of a Senate committee the other day that would allow the state to consider military training when it comes to issuing of like licenses for technical trades. That's a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
They've already been electricians, pipe fitters, welders, whatever they're doing in the service. But the point being, rather than that's a better way to do it than to say, you know what, poor guy, sorry, tell you what, we're going to take you into this program, we're going to teach you how to be a citizen again. Well, you're already a citizen, I'm already a citizen. And most of the veterans I know came out of the service with whatever issues they may have had, but they still came out of the service as Americans and quite capable of functioning in our society. You agree?
I completely agree. And that's one of the things, when Marines, go into boot camp or, whatever, or commissioning services, I mean, you're going in as a citizen, and you're coming out as a citizen.
Right.
And it's that just gets so lost. And listen, I'm not going to pretend that there isn't that a lot of this culture isn't created by veterans themselves. I mean, like I said, there is always that 10%. There is a large group of veterans in the country that can't wait to receive handouts that, in my opinion, aren't necessarily deserved. Veterans have an unbelievable amount of benefits when it comes to the GI Bill, interest-free loans, all of this stuff. But it's this attitude of more. I need more because I did X, Y, and Z, and you owe me this. It's not really the case. You join the military to serve your country, and while you did make sacrifices to the country and you're going to receive benefits for your service, it just doesn't, you don't get to live the rest of your life, being an entitled baby, sitting on the sidelines, expecting the American citizens to support you.
All right, Frank, fantastic. We're out of time. Hey, really appreciate you coming by. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about how government ruins nearly everything.